Next slide. This is option one. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a dramatic option. It's an option that was considered because when this was first announced about 2 weeks ago, your initial response was, I want my money. I want my money back and I want it protected. So the first consideration and recommendation as we look at this response, just a moment please, the first response is, how would we get the money back to them? Shortly thereafter, and particularly during the public hearing, that changed dramatically from the emails that we had them receiving. It was, I don't want my money back, I want you to meet the obligations of the agreement.
Amen. Guaranteed.
That's what we're talking about this time, but I would be remiss in my responsibilities if I didn't indicate from your initial comments what you're concerned with and what the implications are. For example, I don't intend to read this because I'm one of those that if I depend on a PowerPoint to read everything, I'll sit there and read it to you, and you can probably read it better than I can from your angle. But there are points on there I will highlight for you if this is a consideration, and the board will take this under consideration at this meeting. Obviously, the action would be to liquidate the assets and refund the money as it is right now. And what that simply means, that those of you that had contracts from the 90s that paid $4,000, $4,500, whatever, would get those funds back. But you know as well as I do, with tuition and fees the way they are now, you would not cover what you need to do. Second thing is tuition and fee payments will cease at this time. That means summer, fall, and so forth would be ended as we start to liquidate the account. Again, I'd like to remind you, this is not what the board has done. This is the recommendations and the comments that we received in emails initially from you. So we had to consider it as we prepared for this presentation. The pro, obviously, it just simply provides you a return of your investment. You did not lose your dollars. However, as you look at the con, there are several things in there that have to deal with what's going on right now and the potential. And one of the keys that I'd like to point out is the potential for individual tax implications. Obviously, if you have money in a non-taxable account, since this is an agency and instrumentality of the state, you have issues in there that would impact you individually if money were given or returned to you, particularly if there was any percent of interest associated with it. So that would be something you have to deal with, and it will only complicate the issue. The second one is the possible litigation. You understand, and I understand, because we heard that from a number of you, not only through your emails and letters, but also from the public meeting, and most recently with the lawsuit that has been filed in Calhoun County. The idea of that, just so you know and understand that under the circumstances, with the lawsuit filed at this time, there could possibly be, through the courts, a restriction on the funds and how they're handled until the lawsuit is settled. So there would be a dramatic impact on every one of the shareholders at this time through lawsuits. That's your prerogative, and no one would stand in your way under this consideration. But we want to alert you to that. But I get back to that public meeting, as I listened to you, and in the hallways, when I talked to a lot of you one-to-one in your phone call, all you kept saying was, I want my kids to go to school. Let's do it somehow. That's what we're working towards.
So take that on.
You see the financial impact that we would have if we would all that $394 million, which could be covered by the funds that we held this time. The time frame would be 4 months. There are certain assumptions that we would do, but this is only one option that we consider. I don't personally think it's the best option, and that's why I think this board is deliberating to do what it's going to be doing.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Byrne,
I'd like to make a motion.
motion is in order regarding option number one.
I move that the PACT board affirmatively reject option number 1, and that we dissolve that PACT board to close the effort to resolve that.
Motion carries, motion seconded. Any discussion? You heard the motion and the second. Are you ready for the question on option number 1? All in favor of option number 1 to dissolve the PACT program, say aye.
No, the motion is to reject it.
Oh, I'm sorry, to reject. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All in favor of option number 1, to the motion to reject option number 1, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I like signs. The motion is unanimous and it unanimously passes. We will not be dissolving the PACT program. Thank you, Mr. Byrne.
I think the board too. Guys, next slide, please.